So sometimes you're going to end up with large angles that you need to cut on the table saw, and all you need is a little bit, or a piece of scrap plywood that's just a little bit bigger than the widest part of your piece. So once you have that, you need to take it to the table saw and rip just a little bit of it off so that you know exactly how much is in between the fence and the table saw. So let me go rip that. And after you get your piece ripped, all you have to do is line it up exactly on the angle of the line you want to cut and pin nail it on. And then after you get it pin nailed on, after it's pin nailed on, all you're going to do is take it over the table saw without moving the fence and run it back through it again, and you'll have an exact cut on the line you want. Alright, I got my piece cut, and it came out perfect, exactly the way it's supposed to. And the nice thing with the pin nails, don't be too worried about the holes. A little bit of putty and you sand those, even if you're staining it, they'll disappear and look perfect. This particular piece is for a hood I'm building. It gets painted anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Now on this idea, this is something I should have done a long time ago when I first started. I used to throw all my stuff would end up on the table saw because I use it like a workbench half the time. So I came up with this as kind of a tree deal. And the nice thing about it, you can customize it to fit your needs. So I just keep all the things I use all the time, like hearing protection. I got pencils and stuff up here because they're always disappearing. And these are my drawings of the stuff I'm building. And it's not permanently attached. It just slides in and out of this square tubing right there. Then on the back side, I keep the wrench to changing the blade. I have a push stick. So yeah, these really work out great just to keep stuff off your table saw and keep things you use all the time in arm's reach. Are you ever working on a project and you cut a piece of plywood and you get this horrible tear out on the edge? And maybe it's because your blade's dull. It could be a lot of reasons. But if you just need to cut a couple pieces and you need a really good clean edge on both sides, a super easy trick is to drop your blade down, just sticking up about 1/16 of an inch. Run it one time and then raise it up and run it again. What that does is change the angle of where you're cutting on the bottom. When it's up all the way, you got all this downward pressure on the front of the blade. When you're cutting, when you drop it down and it's only up 1/16, you're cutting right on this top, so it's just pushing. So let me demonstrate it for you real quick. Did you know that you can straight line your own lumber on your table saw? It's actually really easy, and all you need is another straight board. So what I do is I keep this 10-foot board that's really straight. I always keep it around. And what you want to do is find the curve of your board. So this particular board curves this way. So I'm going to lay this board up against it, my straight one. And then your two ends should be touching on opposite sides. So I got 9 3/4, and then I'm going to set the fence to 9 3/4. And that's all you have to do to get a nice straight edge that now you can flip over and run on your table saw. Now this next hack works great if you have a bunch of repeated cuts that you have to make all the time. I build cabinets all day long, so I use this to dado all of my cabinet sides. It works for the tops of the bases, the bottoms, the rabbet. So the way it works, it just sits down in the dado, and you can set them up for whatever sizes you need to cut all the time. So here would be the dado for my bases, and then here is the dado for the top of the bases, which also works out for the dado on the top and bottom of the wall cabinets. And if you flip it down again, it works for all the rabbets. And then I also have another one I use that I can run for cutting all the face frame rabbets. I just have it set up for 1/4 inch. And it just works really nice because you get the same cuts every single time. And you never have to measure anything. So yeah, anytime you have a lot of things that you need to cut exactly the same all the time, something like this works great. And just put some hinges on it. So the blade I was talking about that eliminates all tear out that you can buy is this right here. This one's an 80 tooth. It's a high ATB, and they were designed to cut melamine, double-sided melamine, to eliminate the chip out on the other side, but they work extremely well on plywood. So let's go ahead and I'll just do a quick comparison. I'll cut one board with a regular blade and one with this so you can see the difference. Okay, for the first piece, this is a normal blade I use. It's just a 40 tooth ATB blade or alternating tooth blade. So let's cut it and see how it looks. Not very good. Okay, I swapped out the blades and put in the 80 tooth high ATB, so let's give it a shot. And especially if you use these with a zero clearance throat plate, your tear out is going to be almost nothing.